Hi everybody, my name's Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. Today I have a project for you and it is from our Sale-a-bration catalog. So if you don't get my emails or you don't follow all of my videos, you might not know that this week it actually started on the weekend. But for about the next 10 days, there may be towards the end of it, I like to overlap some of my things, but for at least the next week and a little bit after, I'm going to be focusing on our Sale-a-bration products. So these are only available through the end of February, and they're the very best price point because they're all free. So because there's limited time left to get them, I want to try to showcase all of them. So my goal is I don't even know, I should have counted how many there are. That would tell me about how many days I need at least to show them all to you. In my next video, I'll do that. But I'm going to be doing some lives. I'll hop on both YouTube and Facebook at some point during them to showcase a couple of maybe past projects that I've done, maybe mix them together so they're not just one. But for the next week, 10 days, we'll be looking at all of these. So that way, if you haven't, if you have a couple of them that you're trying to choose from, maybe I can help you narrow that down. And we'll talk about the different ways that you can earn them for free. And I'll also have some giveaways. So maybe if you have 2 or 3 on your list and you win one from me, that'll help you out there too. So today I'm going to be doing Corner Bouquet. It's a really fun one. This is the first morning that I've ever used it. I hadn't even inked it up. I hadn't taken it out. And in my head, I had a project and it was all worked out in my head, but I hadn't actually looked at it. And then when I came up to my studio this morning, it's a solid image stamp and I was going to color it in. So I had to scrap the whole thing. Nothing that I'm doing this morning because I ordered it in December. I got sick. It's been sitting on the shelf and I never even really looked at it again. And I just assumed that I was going to be able to color it in. I didn't realize it was the solid image stamp. But I'm really pleased with the way the card turned out that I did end up doing. So I am going to use the Stamparatus. You could do the card. It won't turn out exactly the same if you don't have the Stamparatus. But during Sale-a-bration, because you get the free things with a $50 or $100 purchase, if the Stamparatus is one of those things that you've been intending to get and just haven't held off, if you get it now, then it'll help you get one of the free things and you could get this stamp set free. So I have mounted, I just laid this in here, and when I laid, here, I'll do it again because it's clean. I didn't put the sticker on mine yet because I sat down, and when I realized I was going to have to come up with a new card, then I just thought, well, I better get going because I would like to get a couple of cards designed today. So you can see it has these lines on here. And so when you're doing, I'm just going to do one stamp, and I'm using this so I can stamp multiple colors on it. So it's not so much that I want it lined up. So I'm just going to go where one of these corners is going to be where I line my card up. So I just want kind of the corner, and it doesn't have to be perfect to fit into the corner of my card. So just lay it in there and then let the door grab it. And so then this acts as your wood block. Lift that up, and then I know this corner right here is where I want my card to go, and it comes with these super strong magnets. It comes with 2, but if they click together to each other, they can snap. So I only ever use one. And then just pop that down, and that will hold that nice and tightly in place. And then I just grabbed a bunch of Stampin' Right markers. You can't use blends for this because with blends you can't color on your stamps. So I have a selection of lighter colored markers here. So let's go with the mango. See if I can do this with my glasses on. And there's just a bunch of little flowers. It's just kind of like a meadow full of flowers. I'm going to do some mango ones here. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's just like a wildflower field, and nobody's ever going to look to see that you got them all perfect. So that was mango. I think this is flamingo. Yep. And you just use the brush tip. So I'm just brushing on these flowers here. So there's kind of ones that look similar-ish, but when I was done, I realized some of them I colored the same flower, different colors, but like I said, nobody's going to go back and look. So color those, and then I have Coastal Cabana, and let's get these kind of cone flower looking ones. I did not do these that color last time, I just looked over, so they'll just be different on this one than they were in my first one. So just kind of color them on there, and then the stems are kind of interspersed throughout, so We'll get these that color as well. So just add your stems all at the end and kind of wherever the stems hit. As you can see, there's flowers down in here, and I didn't realize that the first time I used it because, like I said, I didn't even realize what the stamp was. And so the first time they kind of had green, and when I went back, and then this is Highland Heather. When I went back and I added some color over it, those flowers are a little gray, but I don't even think anybody would really notice that. So this is Highland Heather, and I'm doing more of the round flowers in the Highland Heather. Just kind of scribbling it on here. You want to make sure you get the edges, but if there's a little bit missing in the middle, it doesn't matter. Get all those edges of that. You more or less on this first ink up, just want to make sure you get all the flowers, which is what I missed the first time. Now that I've stamped it, the other thing you could do, which I didn't do, and I often recommend, but because I was in a hurry, I didn't do myself, is that you just have the stamp sticker or the stamp case laying there, and you kind of look at what the stamp looks like, because it's kind of hard to tell when you're just looking at the rubber if you've never stamped it before. With these stamps, once you've used them a couple of times, it's a lot easier to tell what they look like. I think there's a little bit of a mango one there. So I've got that. I'm going to add a little bit of mango in here too. I didn't do that last time. And so I was only left with some mango on the outsides. Oh, and I can't tell if that's a flower down there or not. We're not going to have it be a flower. And then this is Granny Apple Green. And so now, since I have all my flowers colored, this is how I discovered there was a flower last time, because when you brush this on, then it's easier to kind of see what the patterns are. And then I was like, oh, look, I just missed a flower. But it just is a little bit of a dusty gray on my second go around, so it didn't matter so much. So just kind of get these leaves. And the reason I did the flowers first was because this kind of tells me then where my stems go in between all these flowers. So just fill these in. This almost makes it to my 15-minute card series. You could do it a couple more times too. You could add a couple more layers of color if you really enjoy doing this, which I kind of do. It takes you back to the coloring if you like it. And you know, once you've done this, then you're done. Like, you're not adding any other stamping to this or have to color anything else. So we've got that. So if you haven't worked much with the markers, any of that ink that I put on the first time may have dried. So you just pick it up and huff some hot air on it, which you won't be able to see me to do. And that will kind of re-moisten anything that may have dried. And especially because we started out with that mango first. So just press that. And now you have all those colors. Now you can see I've missed a couple of places, but that's okay because we're going to stamp again. So the only color that I'm going to reuse the same is mango. And because those are so tiny, if I added a second color, I felt like I was going to cover them all up. I didn't want to just lose them. Now, where did I add that the second time? I'm just going to leave that one because I'm not quite sure where that is. So now I just went back to all of the ones and I took like a similar color, but I didn't color the whole thing. So over the Flirty Flamingo, I took Melon Mambo and just kind of added some in the centers or along the edges just to kind of give some highlights. And not everywhere. And then on my Calypso Coral, I took Bermuda Bay and I did it on a different flowers this time than I did last time. So we have to remember where I did it. And this is a great time that if you missed anything altogether, like when I did the flower last time, that you can just re-add it. So I did those and I did these maybe. And you just dot some color on. And then on my Highland Heather, I did Gorgeous Grape. And these I kind of just added a dot along those circles in the middle. Oh, I see now we're at my other blue ones are. They're right here. Maybe. And if you add opposite colors on it, that doesn't matter either. They're just flowers. So wherever you get the colors, it all works. And then I took shaded spruce and I just kind of added, there's some different kind of leaves and stuff in here, but I wasn't overly concerned. See those kind of ferny looking things? Because it's impossible to get them exactly right. So I just added kind of some stripes of, and tried not to get it on my flowers. So just kind of wisp that on there. You don't want to cover up all your gorgeous grape. I'm going to add a little bit more of that there. And then again, you want to blow some hot air on it. And the nice thing is, if you want to, you can go 3 times, you can go 4 times, you can keep adding as many layers of color as you want. You can be as detailed as you want. If you want to get all those individual stems, you most certainly can. So you can see every time it just builds some layer. I did get blue on my purple, but you can see how much nicer those look with just a little bit of color to those. So this one right here, you can see how that's kind of missing. And I think it's because I'm unsure when I stamp it, and it would be this one right here. So there's a flower right in here. So I'm going to take my lighter blue and just fill that one in. And it's probably the way my studio lights are shining. It is right here. It's always backwards on this. I'm just going to kind of dab some color on that. And that'll fill that in. There we go. So I got that little flower there that I had not been getting. So that's all the stamping. It looks really pretty. And like I said, you can go back if I wanted to get, because I thought about getting a little bit of orange on those, but I didn't want to ruin them. And it's just a really pretty overall look and super simple. But you could keep adding. You could add some more dots. You could add Versamark and emboss the whole thing if you wanted to. And you can do one color at a time. Like if you're unsure, just do your greens and then just do your purples and wipe it off. So now we are going to add our words. So the first one, if you've seen the samples, I did a Mother's Day card, and now I'm gonna do an Easter card, because if you use these little dies, I also thought about just doing an all green one, and I may still, because if you have the word wishes, like this has the St. Patrick's Day dies, it has all of the occasions. So I did a Happy Mother's Day, and now I'm just gonna do one that says Happy Easter, because this is kind of an all occasions. And then this is the word wishes. There are the other ones that have then more general sayings, like it says happy birthday. It has a Mr. and Mrs. So you could do a wedding card. This is all some scrap paper from my retreat when we were cutting lots of flamingos. So let's roll these through. But then this is the foil paper that I've been so addicted to. You're probably like, is she ever going to stop with the foil? But it's so pretty and it's so spring and happy. And I'm not going to use the adhesive because we don't really need it on this card, because I'm going to also put it through a folder. So just run this through. It just gives a really bright, fun feel to this card. So just roll that through. And then we're going to need the cut and emboss machine again. Again, if you don't have a cut and emboss machine because you've been waiting, Celebration's the perfect time to get it, because then you'll also get some free product when you purchase it. These pop out really good, except for sometimes they've popped, but right in between these little letters, like in between the E and the S, those just kind of stay in there. Isn't that just beautiful? It just sets that off so nicely. So move this out of the way. And then I'm going to take just a tad bit of adhesive just to hold them in place. So you just need a little bit. Let's take this. And this will only have 2 words and not 3, because Happy Mother's Day, of course, is 3. So add this here. And you could leave it like this, I mean, it's really pretty like this, and it's sparkly and beautiful and very Easter looking. Those colors just really look Easter, but I like to press it together, and I wanted the whole thing to kind of have like a painting feel. So I'm going to put it together in the textile folder. Oops, I have it upside down. Not that I think that on this one it makes a big difference, but on our folders, the Stampin' Up's what's intended to be the front or the upside of that. So let's just send this back through here again. This time you need the gray plate. If you have the old Big Shot and you use our new folders, you can get the gray plate and you can just get it on its own. If you get the cut and emboss, it does come with the gray plate. That's what makes the new dynamic folders, the thicker ones, work. So see, now it's pressed it all together. And then if any place like this E might need it, but when it smushes it to the paper, it needs far less adhesive. I'm going to stick just a tiny bit under the E. There you go. But it doesn't need as much adhesive when you stick them together like that. It just needs that little bit on the first and second letter. And then this is one of my free gifts this month is the Pool Party ribbon. And this is from the Whale Suite in the catalog, which is kind of a cartoony paper. But this ribbon, to me, feels like a wedding ribbon, or like on this, it's just really pretty see-through sheer ribbon. I mean, it gets the water feel, which is why it's in the Whale Suite. But don't overlook it because you think that you're not going to make any whale cartoon cards, because it's really pretty ribbon. But it is one of my free gifts with purchase this month. So check that out on my website. So I'm just going to tie a little bow. And I just used my scissors to knock that thing out. And then I lost them. Here they are. I put my machine right on top of them. Just turn that. So see, I think the St. Patrick's Day one, there's a smaller corner stamp that's got less flowers. It's more greenery. So I may do it just in green, and then do the Happy St. Patrick's Day in gold with some gold and white ribbon. I love making St. Patrick's Day cards because I love Ireland, and it just makes me feel like if I could travel, I would go back there. Well, if I could travel, you know, if you could travel right now, when you can't do something, it makes you kind of feel like a teenager, doesn't it? Just because you're told you can't do something, it just makes you want to do it all the more. I think this still needs a little bit more. I must not have gotten any on that first letter, because normally when you have any at all and that goes through the machine, it just really presses it down. So fold this on the back. This doesn't take, we're all only working with white cardstock except for this little bit of foil, which is our highlight. And then here's white. And I'm going to take some dimensionals, which I only have tiny ones laying here. I used my other packet up when I made my first card. Because when I do white on white, sometimes I like just for it to have that little bit of lift. Isn't that springy and bright? And we're getting more snow here today, and it's like 6 degrees Fahrenheit out right now. So this little bit of happy Easter springiness, happy Mother's Day combination is just what my I wish I was in the pool heart desires to see, is that warm weather is on the way. Here's the other one. So you can see, don't stress about getting your colors all on the right flowers, because when it's all said and done and that all of that's together, nobody is going to pay any kind of attention to, oh, look, I have a little bit of blue there. Or you can see there's my little, oh, and I didn't add my last step now that I'm looking at this one. There's my little gray flower there. I did take my Wink of Stella after this was all said and done, because there's no sense in covering up ones that are going to get done covered with ribbon, and just add a little bit of shimmer to some of these top flowers, just so you have a little bit of sparkle, which you won't be able to see too well. I'll take a picture on the website and put it over there. So that's my, I guess it's my second celebration card. Over on Facebook, I will do an album, because it's not like I haven't done any celebration cards, but this week's just going to be a focus on them. And I will do an album that has my celebration cards that I've done up to this point, because I have done a few, and I did do some way back in November before I got sick. So everybody have a great day, and I will even see you live on YouTube or on Facebook. I'm not going to do both at the same time. I feel 99.9% better, but that seeing you live on both channels at the same time is always a little bit much for my poor brain on a good day, and I'm just not there yet. I'm not going to tax myself. But everybody have a great week, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye.